Welcome to everyone to the Wholesale and Retail Virtual Open Day track. As Sharon has shared, my name is Pumeza and I look forward to having you for this hour to collaborate about the wholesale and retail environment. Just a quick squeeze in terms of what I'll be talking about in this hour. There's just a brief introduction. Not to mention, there will be a giveaway prize right after this, and I'll be explaining how we will choose the winner about that. But before I continue, we have a few things in store for you today. So we'll be covering topics such as the retail ecosystem during COVID-19. How has COVID-19 impacted your business? Consumer behavior changes that have occurred during this time. And we will share, as I said, collaborating is key. So we'll share some tips and tricks and skills that will be required by managers now and in the future. And there's a few other things I will share with you as well around these topics. We'll also cover the topic around exponential organization. I will spend some time to give you a showcase around our Omnistack platform, and there'll be Q&A at the end. So that is a quick squeeze around what we will be covering today. So if I can go to my next slide. I did speak about the competition giveaway today. So this is what we will be giving away today. So we're very excited to announce our collaboration with this trendy up and coming local brand. It's called Matsidiso. And that's our sponsor for our wholesale and retail track competition. And we will be gifting one of our attendees with a shopping voucher to get you started for the new season. So Matsidiso is inspired by the beautiful diversity of Pan-African cultures. They use vibrant colors and textures and meld them into their design in a modern way. So each pair of shoes is handcrafted and made in small batches, and every product celebrates the notion that local artisan-made products are the new luxury, and you can catch them on matsidiso.com. So more about the competition giveaway. So I have 4 questions in store for you, and I will just have my curator, Roshni, next to me, who will be checking who has the first answer. Who has the first answer for these questions? So if we know by now, we know that wholesale and retail industry is all about pace. So the rule of this game is that you need to be fast and you need to type your answer as fast as possible. So the quickest hands on, sort of called the virtual buzzer. You can use the chat box to write your answers down. Is everyone ready? Can I have an indication in the chat box? Are we all ready? All right, let's see. Okay, just having a look at the chat box. I see there is a thumbs up, smiley face. I'm taking that you are all ready. Okay, okay, the meeting is recorded. All good. So the first question that we have for today's prize is, which level restriction did we start with in South Africa? So we had the lockdown. Does anyone remember which level did we start off with? Okay, so I'm taking the first person who gets this right is definitely up for the prize. Not necessarily the winner, but definitely up for the prize. All right, so what do we see? I see Tanya says 5. Okay, Alison is 5. Let's see. Tanya, very much hot fingers there. I definitely agree, Danny. She is very, very fast, hey? All right, ladies, I think you are definitely on the right track there. And the answer is definitely level 5. We started off at level 5, so we're done with the first one. Let's look at the second one. What does the abbreviation AI stand for? I know this has been used a lot in the industry in the past few years. So what do you believe this stands for? Tanya. Oh, wow. I am predicting someone could be the potential winner, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. All right, I'll carry on with the next one. Let's see if we have let's see if we have a few people. Lisa saying started at lockdown. Very funny, Lisa. There is no competition here. Alison, I totally agree. All right, let's go and kick on to our third question for this competition. Maybe it could change. You just never know. The third one is the most talked about retail regulation during the COVID-19 or lockdown period. What do you think is the most talked about retail regulation? Now, this one is not so straightforward, hey? All right, we see there is a few people typing, sanitizing and masks. Tanya, definitely, I think that's a very important regulation that has been put by our government that we need to wear masks and we need to sanitize. And where would this fall under? Which topic would this fall under? Still with you there, Tanya? Anyone knows where that would fall under? Which type of regulation? Okay, I see. Roshni, health and safety. Definitely, definitely. So Tanya, I think you have some competition here, hey? See, Roshni is really stirring up this pot now. So I have one last question. Let us see if Tanya is the winner or is it Roshni? Last question. In which level are we in? I think that is very easy. I think I'm giving it away now. Ah, yeah, that's and definitely you have the hot fingers for the day. Level one, Tanya says, Alison, level one, definitely. And you are definitely the winner for this prize, Tanya. You have won yourself the lovely 500 Rand voucher for the Matsuri So brand, and that's our sponsor for today. Thank you so much for participating, everyone. Before we go any further, I would like us to have an overview of who is in attendance today and answer a quick Google Forms that I'll add to the chat box. Just a few moments so that I can add it to the chat box. Thank you, everyone, for participating. It's really great. I see Rashni, you're a good sport, telling Tanya enjoy, guys. Awesome. We need to discuss who can I donate this to. Thank you so much, Tanya, for sharing your prize with someone. We can discuss this definitely offline after this session. So there is a Google Forms link that you can go to, and I will stop sharing just to show you actually how does this form look like. And I would like you to click on it and complete it for me. It's just a quick Google Form questionnaire that you can complete. All right. Okay, let me go to it. All right, so we are here. This is how it actually looks like. It's the virtual open day. It's a quick survey. If you can just tick for us, which type of business are you in? The second one is asking us, has COVID-19 impacted your business negatively? And are your consumers buying online? Are they buying in the retail store? Or is it actually both? Once everyone has commented, I will monitor. I see there's 2 responses so far. I will monitor it just to see if it's a little bit increasing, if everyone can answer that, and then we can have an overview of how the results actually look like. Okay, so as they're coming in, the results will actually start changing on this Google Forms that I have here. So we've had 3 responses, and if I look at it, it's telling us that there's about 1 person in retail, 1 person in services, learning and development, ETD, there's 1 person there. So it's about 4 responses in total so far. Okay, I'll go down. Let's see the rest of the questions. Has COVID-19 impacted your business negatively? Definitely. So this is giving us an indication that COVID-19 is definitely impacting businesses out there, and maybe is 25%. So we're still not sure yet what is the level of impact on your business. Probably still coping, and you're still looking at what is the level of impact. And the last one is your consumers buying online? There's 25% saying online, both is 50%, and delivery services is deliver a service is what 25%. So it's a good split if you look at it, and it's a good thing that people are still using both face-to-face stores and also online as well. And that's a good indication for that. Let's see how many responses we have. We're still sitting on 4, but this is just a good indication that I just wanted to share with you in terms of how it actually looks like in reality. We are a small sample today, so this is just a sample of how it actually looks like out there. If we had a bigger sample, it would show a similar reflection to what we have here. All right, I will stop sharing so I can go back to the presentation. Just a moment, I'll be with you now. All right, so I've stopped sharing. We can now move on to our next slide. If you do have any questions, please, you're more than welcome to use the chat box. I will ask Roshni to monitor it and to attend to your questions as we go along. Now we have a new reality. And in this new reality, we have a few things that we need to. Firstly, I've just written a few, just a short comment on this new reality. The new reality for our industry is that retailers are operating in a new reality amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And adapting strategies and innovating with technologies are very imperative to match changing consumer behaviors. Now, to prepare for the changes and challenges ahead that will shape the retail industry moving forward. This all gives us an insight to a whole new retail ecosystem. And what does this entail? Let's talk about it more. So if you're talking about this new retail ecosystem, and a lot of consumer sentiments have been changing from when we started off in March with the lockdown to where we are at the moment. So if we look at back in March, daily retail conversation volumes were the highest during the initial lockdown period and the lowest during the extension. Consumers' net sentiments trended downwards during the lockdown and was the lowest during the extension period. Pricing and affordability became major drivers of negative sentiments during the lockdown. And towards the later part of the lockdown, the overall conversation started to broaden and shifted to non-price or non-affordability related issues such as ongoing sales restrictions on certain items. If you aware of that or if you've experienced that, and also concerns about socio-economic impact of the crisis. Consumers' mindsets are changing now to how socially reliable are we in terms of responding to this pandemic and to this crisis that we were faced with. And there is certain initiatives that businesses started doing now to ensure that they are compliant with regulations and with the law. And consumers, therefore, they showed appreciation for retailers that did take precautionary measures to protect the staff and the shoppers. The COVID-19 crisis has fast-tracked amazingly the urgency for digital transformation in retail. And this is highlighting the need to operate and serve our customers differently. And this pandemic has and it will continue to demand adjustments from retailers with changes in consumer experience, product, and retail environment, things such as hygiene and employee engagement. These things will now require a review. And with the gradual easing of the lockdown, supply chain services and their retail partners will have to adopt an agile approach in executing fulfillment strategies due to the fast or the forced demand of shifts. Now, we all are aware that there are so many changes in the retail space, from job losses, staff morale, salary cuts, retrenchments, even the physical layout of the business and has been impacted by this pandemic. And things like where businesses now are starting to consider policies and procedures. Businesses are starting things like remote work, where that will actually ultimately move you to re-evaluating your policies and procedures now that workers are working remotely a little bit. Okay, so as Roshni is looking at your comments, I will just be moving a little bit forward. So ultimately, what we need to understand that the finish line in the wholesale and retail space has always been moving. What may have held true a week ago, it often loses its relevance as the inventories they diminish, the prices they adjusted, and competitors they respond. As we all know, some retailers have started to provide self check-ins, they've provided sampling vending machines, electronic shelf labeling, and even free Wi-Fi. And these are some of the things that is starting to slowly change in our retail stores and things that we possibly could start considering now. Okay, let's just see if there is any comments. Okay, I see Lisa is saying consumers will demand more consumer-centric solutions. Definitely agree that with that comment. Thank you so much for your comment, Lisa. So that's what we are gearing towards. And the thing is that if you take too long to respond to these changes, your consumers will probably have settled with a competitor or even an upcoming new business. Now let us look at how has this pandemic affected our local business in the retail sector. So this is a few stats that I have looked up. This is from Stats SA. And this is just showing us where Stats SA has done two surveys, and the surveys they were done. There was the first one that's showing in the blue, and then they did the survey again later on, and it's showing in the orange section, in the orange bars on the screen there. So if you look at it, the second wave of Stats for COVID-19 Business Impact Survey, this provides us then with an update of how South African businesses are currently faring under the lockdown. So with the first impact survey, this was done in the period of 30th of March and 13th of April 2020. And the results were published in April. So the survey asked firms in the formal sector how has this crisis affected their operations in terms of turnover, trading, workforce, imports and exports, purchases, prices, and even business survival. And Stats SA then followed up with a second survey, and it covered periods of 14th of April to 30th of April. And the number of responses for the second round was even much larger than the first survey. Turnover in the second wave showed that 9 to 10 businesses responded that turnover was lower than their normal expected range. That's about 90% of the businesses that were actually took part in this survey. In terms of workforce, just over one third, which is like 36% of firms indicated that they were laying off staff in the short term as a measure to cope with COVID-19 pandemic. Is this things that you have been experiencing in your business as well? You can share your comments in the chat box. We would love to hear what you have to say, and if you actually relate to what we are sharing today and to these statistics. I'll go more into what I've shared on the slide. And if you look on the slide, it shows us that 2% of businesses increased working hours, which is really not that much. And others are showing that there was a decrease in working hours, which is about 28% on the first survey and 25% in the second one. And then other businesses, if you look at the second survey in orange, is telling us now that they have been laying off staff in the short term because they need to survive. And if we look at the fifth bar, or the last one, it shows that 24 to 20% of businesses have not been making any measures in terms of their changes. So what I will do is, this was a quite an extensive report that I have gone through. So what I'll do is I will share it with you so that you can also go through it on your own time and read it and analyze it on your own. If I can go through the comments quickly, just to check in terms of what is happening in the chat box. Tanya, many companies successfully moved online, which is actually great, Tanya. Even though large grocery retailers are allowed to operate, they still made ingenious efforts to create online and delivery channels. Examples, checkers. I know the 6060 app, definitely ingenious, innovative, and also right on time, in time. Roshni, just about every industry was impacted. Totally agree, Roshni. Mario, amazing how the increased staff layoffs contradicts unemployment stats released this week. Wow, interesting comment, Mario. And Roshni, absolutely agree, Tanya. Okay, so you can actually go and, all right, let me just go back to my slides quickly. I think I must have moved quickly. I think I'm definitely hot fingers today, Tanya. Moving to other slides, and I should not. Okay, looks like we are all good that side. So those were just a few stats on what is currently happening in terms of businesses out there. So with the information shared, other than the changes in the work measurements that have changed in business, the consumer behavior has also evolved during this time. Let's have a closer look at this. So this is a short snippet of what consumer behaviors has changed during this time. So here's some examples of what I'll be talking about. As concerns regarding the coronavirus grows, the impact on the consumer behavior begins to slow, and it's stabilizing in many regards. There's a few stats that I've shown there. If you look on the right side, you will see that about 61% of consumers say they are eating or drinking out less than before. The majority still made at least one purchase of a meal or snack outside of their home last week, and many plan to do the same next week. So when asked about their likelihood of ordering from a restaurant or delivery service next week, about 38% said they probably are or definitely would. And then 24% mentioned they would do so for convenience or because they didn't want to cook. And 13% mentioned supporting local or small business. So this is really showing us that consumer behavior is definitely changing, and consumers and businesses are now exposed to multi-channels environment. And that's what we need to realize, where consumers can access businesses online, on WhatsApp, social media, etc. And retailers and their peers in the financial services, transportation, hospitality must quickly embrace a fast paced environment. Focus on agile execution that aligns the business with developers and significantly accelerates the pace at which new products and applications are brought to the market. So, with all of this new normal, as we call it, there is possibly a sense there are plenty of skills that is required of managers and leaders in the retail space to ensure that businesses is meeting the client and business needs. And the sooner they start adapting to those 2030 skills, the better. So, do you perhaps know what leaders can do to ensure, or what skills are there that is required from leaders? If I can just post this question to you here. So here's a question that I have posed to you. What are the skills required to align leaders to capably embrace and manage the future world of work? What you could do is you can use your mobile phones. You can go to www.mentimeter.com and you can actually use the code 3569245, and then I will share the results to this question once I stop sharing my screen. I will do this in a moment. All right, if you can hear me, the code is 3569247, and let's answer the question. What are the skills required to align leaders to capably embrace and manage the future world of work? We are faced with a lot of challenges in our work environments and in our businesses. And this is gearing us to think now, how do we actually cope with all of these changes? What is needed from me in order to actually be able to cope and be able to embrace, be able to be agile? What are these things that is required of me as a leader to capably embrace and manage the future world of work? I see there is comments coming through, the suggestions are coming through, and we are at our tips and tricks section. So communication, definitely, creative thinking, collaboration, ability to change, empathy, design, and compelling expertise. I'm assuming that is fostering emotional commitment. Beautiful. Ability to change, collaboration, creativity, innovation, creative thinking, trust, inspiration, diversity. Lots of skills coming through. Thank you so much for the collaboration. Thank you so much for all your inputs, and definitely agree with all of the suggestions that is coming through. As we can see, it's still coming through, and you can just continue to let them come through. This is definitely everything that a leader needs to be able to be capably embrace this future world of work. Thank you so much for all of your suggestions. And then I see there's a few comments there coming through from Lisa and Roshni. Lisa is saying these changes are not going to change. In fact, I believe changes will even be more exponential. And that's one of the topics that we'll be covering on this session. Lisa, thank you so much for highlighting that. I totally agree with the comments that you are providing there. All right. I just need to go through your comments quickly before I start sharing again. And thank you all so much. This is really enjoying the session and really enjoying the participation that is actually coming through here. And that is one of the things that I actually wanted to share with you. Before I do that, let's just go back to sharing. So we have what we call our management development stack. And with this research paper that we have published, there are a few skills that we have actually come up with in this research paper, and these are skills that we believe managers will definitely need, and this is increasing in terms of what we've added to the session in our Mentimeter share session. So not limited to that, but if we look on further, we can look skills like complex problem solving, judgment and decision making, critical and computational thinking, bit of a tongue twister there. Negotiation skills, service orientation, people management, collaboration management, emotional intelligence, creativity, cognitive flexibility. This is just one of our research papers that we have published, and it's highlighting the skills that we need in order for us to just cause this disruption and urgency. These are the things that we need to keep in our minds, that disruption and urgency will definitely frame our reality and require us to redefine the skills that sets us apart. On top of that, there is other skills such as soft skills, things like effective business writing, conflict management, HR matters, presentation, diversity, stress, and change management. Thank you all for listening to this section, but this is just a few things that I wanted to share with you. And in order for managers to grow in this process, there is certain levels that can be completed for managers to actually go and not only just focus on actually just the soft skills, but also in terms of what qualifications is out there to equip me. So we have the NQF level 2 qualification that has things like business administration. If you can go further, you can go into NQF level 3, which is national certificate that covers management. This is for your junior supervisors, junior team leaders, junior managers, etc. And if you want to go on further into furthering your career, and then we can go into level 4, which is generic management, and occupations such as office management. The business manager, executive manager can also go into this type of qualification. All right, so that's what I wanted to share in terms of we have the skills and we have qualifications that can actually enable you to be able to cope with the future world of work. Okay, let me stop sharing and I can move on to those. If I can look into, okay, Tanya saying thank you so much. Lisa, blurring the boundaries between the physical brick and mortar space. Definitely agree, Lisa. And virtual e-commerce stores is the new retail. Definitely. Omnichannel experiential retail is the future for the retail industry. Thank you so much for sharing that, Lisa. And Tanya saying thank you so much. Thank you all. I will now be coming back to our presentation. All right. We're back again there, right? I have my curator sharing with me that I have 20 minutes, which is all good on my side. Now, last question for today in terms of our tips and tricks section, we have, now that we know what skills do we need, what can we do in our businesses to keep learning and development alive in the wholesale and retail business? What can we do amidst this whole COVID-19? What are the things that we can do, whether big or small? What are the things that we can do to actually keep learning and development alive? Because this is not something that is a nice to have. I believe it's something that is a critical point to have, critical element to have in your business. Okay, we can go back onto Mentimeter and use the same code, and I will share the results with you on my screen here. All right, same code 3569247. I'll be with you now, just a moment. All right, there we go. Question: how do we keep learning and development alive in the wholesale and retail business amidst COVID-19? What are the things that we can do, whether big or small? What can we do to keep learning and development alive? And as I said earlier, it is definitely not something that we can actually do without. We still need to ensure that our people are still learning, even if we are faced difficult times and changing times and challenging times. What are the things that we can do to keep L&D learning and development alive? I love the comment that's coming through. Practical skills, definitely. Okay, on the job training where people can get practical skills. E-learning is definitely something that is growing at the moment right now. E-learning and online learning. So there is definitely options out there that we can actually utilize. Nugget sessions, love that. Okay, we can have nugget sessions. It doesn't have to be full on training. Where we can break it up into small pieces. I see there's blended learning coming through as well, online learning, and be relevant when you are actually providing your learning and development interventions. Love it. Micro content, bite sized. Love it. Innovative skills, actively agile, mentoring, coffee chats, uh, practical skills, make it easy and accessible. Love it. Online learning, embrace mobile learning. And that is something that we're currently even doing at the moment right now. We're using our mobile phones to actually interact in this virtual space. Thank you so much for these comments that is coming through. Love it. There is a lot that we can do in order for us to actually learn and grow as a business, and we cannot neglect learning and development for our businesses and for our people. It is not a nice to have, it is definitely something that is a critical and component, an important component in our businesses. All right, so going back to our presentation, and that's what we can do. That is something that we can do. All of the suggestions that was brought forward, I totally agree with them. If I can just monitor the chat quickly just to see. All right, I see everyone has commented in the actual Mentimeter activity. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I have a few things in store for you still. If you can, a moment, just for us to actually see. All right. So we have shared now what we can do as a business in order for us to actually keep learning and development alive. Thank you all for your contributions, and everything that has been provided is highlighting more and more that we need to be exponential organizations. I will share a video from our managing director, Lisa Moldenhauer, who will give us some insight on exponential organizations.
What made organizations succeed in the 20th century will be their downfall in the 21st.
What happened? Oh, okay. All right, what I'll do is I'll just play it again from the start. Let's see if it plays well now. All right, let me start, pause it quickly, and let us see what we can do to make the sound come back. All right, so I will share again quickly, and there we go. Okay, and let's see if it's going to play.
Have experienced rapid growth.
There we go. Looks like it's all good.
What made organizations succeed in the 20th century will be their downfall in the 21st. The question that we need to ask ourselves is, what do we need to do to survive in the information economy age? Companies like Uber, Airbnb, Netflix have experienced rapid growth, and they have become disruptive, referred to as exponential organizations or EXOs. What these companies have in common is that they produce 10 times faster output and impact than their competitors. By default, that means that they have greater efficiencies and they are far more cost effective. This momentum means that exponential organizations are disruptive and taking out the competitors and shaking up the industry. Understanding this has allowed Omni to not only to consider the impact and strategies we need to remain relevant, it has led us to formulate a disruptive organizational development framework that allows us to partner with you in design thinking within agile business models and leadership framework that will allow impactful business strategies to remain relevant in the fourth industrial revolution. Our model is integrated and relies heavily on collaboration. We have a host of solutions, from talent change and project management to business consulting, executive coaching, and corporate culture development. Finally, we have developed a superhero academy with the intent to prepare individuals, teams, and organizations for the future world of work. Isn't forward thinking what exponential organizations are all about?
Thank you all for watching the video. Let me pause it because now it is playing again. All right, so lots of things to think about there. Any comments around exponential organizations? Do you believe this is what we need to gear into? What we need to start focusing on is to become exponential organizations. And any insights in terms of what you understand by it? Have you done some research on it? I know I'm giving you some multiple questions there, but this is a very big topic. And it's something that we need to start investing in. How do I make my business an exponential organization? It is going to need urgency. It is going to need disruption. And we need to ensure that we're doing this for our organizations. It's what our organizations need, and it's what the current times need as well. It needs us to be exponential in our businesses. We need to fight for our businesses. We need to ensure that we are sustainable now and for the future. All right, I would love to hear some comments coming through. I'll be going through your comments quickly. I love it. All right, that was the audio. Thank you so much for your feedback on audio. Hopefully you were able to hear it. Roshan is saying we definitely have to be disruptive and to monitor others' response to it. Lisa is saying with COVID-19, we have no choice but to think beyond exponential. All right, bit of some sound issues there. So with COVID-19, as Lisa is saying in terms of her comments, we have no choice but to be disruptive. And there's a comment there that says, sure. Hopefully I pronounced that right. How things have changed this year. So 2020 has fast forwarded the requirements to be disruptive. Even some of our strategies that were relevant yesterday is obsolete today. Are you ready to be agile? Something to think about, and at a level that requires nearly daily changes, and this requires us on an individual and organizational level to be very much adaptive, disruptive, agile, and have an urgency for change. Thank you so much for watching the video that I have shared at the moment, and there is one more thing that I would love to share with you today. And this is our Omnistack platform. If I can go to that quickly. So this is another thing that we have done. as an organization. In fostering to becoming an exponential organization, we've created the Omnistack Platform, and this is an online and e-learning resource that we have created. And this is to ensure that we are moving and we're able to provide education online and through e-learning as well. So we've piloted a few programs. We have other programs as well that's available, soft skills training and full qualifications as well. So we have one program, which is our Omni Sales Assistant. I'll just be showing this to you just a little bit in terms of how we can actually, what we've done with this actual platform. So students are able to go on the dashboard, choose a site or choose a program that they want to engage in. And afterwards, once they've chosen the program for the program that they've been registered in, they can actually go and view videos on this platform. They're able to go through content. So that's different modules that you see there. There is our webinar recordings, and we actually save it on the platform so that the learners can go back and watch these videos. There's some assessments where we can have it online as well, and then learners can evaluate. So that is just a short view of what platform that we have started to provide, and also or have provided, and it's actually up and running, and it's able to use for online and e-learning purposes. All right, so this is one way of becoming agile, one way of becoming, exponential as an organization. So one of our learners on this programs, or not one of our learners, about 3 of our learners has shared their experiences with us when they were on our programs. So let's just see, there is a few messages coming through here. Okay, I'll start sharing now. One of those videos that was shared by our learner who was actually on our program. Let us go to that screen. I'm actually there. All right, one more thing is that I just need to ensure that I have my volume all good. Perfect. All right. So this is one of our testimonials for a group of learners that have shared their experiences with our programs. Enjoy.
Highlights of my learning journey, having to meet different people and the connection and the network that one then begins to develop during that time. That was amazing for me. And I remember the support that Omni give to the individual is customized for each individual. Yes, you work as a group, but again, how the learning program is structured, it's learner centered. We have different challenges, and as one of those learners, we had a bit of challenges during my learning journey, and the support that I received from the facilitator, that was amazing. In my day-to-day application, I remember if I have to deal, for instance, with a learner with a special need, I know exactly what is it that I need to do, because I can reflect from my experiences and how I was supported during my own experiences.
Wanting to undergo adult learning is definitely always going to be a challenge, because it's adult learning. So no longer are you in a space of being a young learner, because you have more responsibilities. So if you are a mom, if you are somebody's wife, or if you are somebody's husband, there's going to be those challenges, like in terms of your time. There's going to be, can I do this? Can I do this? You're going to keep on questioning yourself. But my advice would always be to go for it.
The time management part. I think getting used to that I now need to have time to study and do the assignments and actually do my work, even though I now realize that some of it I could have integrated as I was busy with it. But at the time I was just so flustered by all the information that I had that I didn't know how to manage my time. But now looking back, there's a lot of things I could have done differently.
The advice I would give to others that are considering adult learning is that I know in most cases people, when they get to a certain age, they feel afraid that they won't be able to do this, but adult learning is manageable. The modules are workable. You can work it at your own pace. You can use your real life experiences and apply it. I would recommend Omni as a place of learning any day. My experience has been amazing. The facilitators are so good, and I think the interaction in class, what stood out for me the most was that Omni had this blended learning approach. Whilst being on the program, we had pit stops like coaching sessions to assist us to complete our modules. We also had Adobe Connect sessions where we could dial in from the comfort of our own homes and just have a quick discussion to see if anyone's struggling, and the support was really amazing.
I will recommend Omni because not only because I've had such a pleasant experience with the company, I've also learned about the company, and Omni is exactly what it says. The facilitator that I've dealt with, everybody that I've dealt with, I've never had a reason to not trust where I'm putting myself into. I love the company, I love what I'm getting, I love the feeling that I get, I love the vibe that I'm getting with the company. There's always advice ready. If I should just email, there's always somebody to respond to my emails. I will definitely recommend Omni because it's definitely giving me exactly what I need.
Love it. So that is a few testimonials from our learners that have had some experiences with our programs, and we definitely want all our learners to actually experience that. Once they have gone through our programs, we want them to experience that feeling. All right, I'm just going to move on. Okay. So this is my last sharing comments with you in terms of this is my perspective that a learning organization is an organization that is continually expanding its capacity to create its future. All right. And I believe that is one thing that we should just focus on, is that if we want a future, we need to ensure that our organizations are learning organizations. Is there any questions from anyone in the group? And then we can just attend to it afterwards, or we can attend to it now. Just one more thing that our sales have shared with me is that for everyone who's attended our virtual open day today, there is a 15% discount for everyone, and that 50% discount for everyone from Matsidiso, the Matsidiso retail brand, and that will go out in our thank you communication tomorrow. All right. So we're all winners at the end of the day. So even you, Rashni, are definitely a winner. It's not only Tanya was a winner today. Any questions? Any comments? Love to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much, Tanya, for availing yourself today. Really appreciated your presence in the session. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a pleasant day. And yes, thank you. Really appreciate you attending the session today. I see there is no questions. I see there is some comments there that I might have missed. Alison sharing the ACON, a leadership approach addresses that. Critical to understand the changes required. Beautiful. Thank you so much for all the comments that have been shared today. Have an awesome day going forward.